very good evening and welcome to Newswatch this 20th of June 2022. Thank you so much for joining us on this live broadcast on Hope TV. I'm Tony Omondi and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Murithi. Let's begin with the latest stories tonight. The August 9th general election will see the highest number of polling stations registered across the country as well as voters after the IEBC made public the audited voter register. According to IEBC chairperson Wafula Chebukati, the number of registered voters has risen from 19.6 million to 22.1 million, representing a 12.79% increase. A total of 46,232 polling stations have been registered in 2022, marking an increase of 13.08% from 2017, where 40,883 polling stations were registered. According to the IEBC chairperson, Wafula Chebukati, the IEBC is ready to handle one of the most contested elections in Kenya's history, even as the commission assured Kenyans that it's able to handle any technical failures on the day of election. At the same time, the commission has announced mitigation measures and backup plans to ensure a seamless election. Our reporter Grace Ongoi will be bringing us a detailed report on this particular story we've been following up during the day. But now we want to move on to our next story, where bus fares to most destinations in Nairobi and across the country have been adjusted after matatu operators nationwide agreed to review the current rates, citing the continuous hike in fuel prices. Operators are marveling at making the fare increment on a marginal percentage that will not hurt commuters, considering that the cost of living is high. However, some operators say that increasing matatu fares may disadvantage the transport sector. Dole Muregi has this report.
Matatu operators in Nairobi on Monday began hiking fares in response to record high fuel prices. Commuters were hit with fare increase of between 10 shillings and 30 shillings on various routes across Nairobi. Among affected routes were the Waiyaki Way and Mombasa Road routes. The Federation of Public Transport Sector Lobby, whose members include the Matatu Owners Association (MOA), had advised its members across the country to pass on the increased cost of fuel to customers by increasing the fares. But at Kenya Railways bus station, the drivers are crying foul over the rising fuel prices. The matatu operators in this location, however, say they have not hiked the bus fares since hiking the fare will lead to low turnout of commuters.
Mahali imefika, naona kama hii sekta ya matatu biashara itaisha kabisa. Juu kama bei ya mafuta inapanda, sisi kama wafanyikazi wa sekta ya matatu, yani within Nairobi, hatuwezi accommodate kuogesha bei ya abiria. Ukiangalia mambo ya kuongezea fare, surely mahali Kenya tumefika, Yesu utasema abiria muongezee fare. Je, ni mfanyibiashara yeye ameongezewa mshahara kweli?
The cost of Super Petrol in Nairobi has increased by 5.9% since May to 159.1 shillings per litre, with diesel and kerosene costing 140 shillings and 127.9 respectively.
Inapanda rapidly, na ile kuongeza, hakuna mtu mwenye, vile maisha imekuwa ngumu, hakuna mwenye unaweza ongezea pesa ama ongeza fare yake. Juu ukiongeza fare hakuna mtu ataingia kwa hiyo gari, juu kila mtu amefinywa na maisha. Na hiyo mafuta vile imepanda, sasa hatujui serikali inaelekea pande gani, hata tuelewi tutaanza wapi na tuelekee wapi.
Japheth Mackenzie has been a matatu operator for the last 15 years, and he says things have never gone crazy as they are at the moment. He now fears for the matatu industry since prices have risen steadily in 2 years.
Naona hata wenye magari wa itabidi wengine waziweke parking kwa mafuta iko juu, na abiria wakiambiwa waongezee nauri wanakataa. So sisi tuko kwa problem kubwa sana. Unapata hata driver ama conductor akienda kupewa mshahara haitoshi pale, because mwenye gari anataka target ya ile tu walikuwa anapewa kitambo, na unapata mafuta gari kama ilikuwa inakunywa 5,000 imeongezewa na 1,000. So hiyo 1,000 haipatikani.
Kenyans using public vehicles will now be forced to dig deeper into their pockets in response to the high cost of fuel that has been increasing every month, without talking about the high cost of living which has been affecting Wanjiku. Dolly Murigi, Hope TV, Nairobi.
Right, moving on, the Law Society of Kenya, LSK, has questioned IEBC's credibility after clearing Nairobi Senator Johnson Sakaja and his Machakos counterpart Wavinya Ndeti to vie as governors in the upcoming election. Now, LSK President Eric Theuri, who led the council's representatives, said the commission has shied off from addressing with finality the question of qualifications of duly raised before it, considering that the DCI is still investigating the two cases. On Sunday, the IEBC Disputes Tribunal, sitting at the Milimani Law Courts, dismissed petitions filed separately against Sakaja and Ndeti, which questioned their academic credentials, with the tribunal claiming it has no jurisdiction to verify academic papers. Dickens Luvanda brings us this report.
The Law Society of Kenya, LSK, are up in... Lawyers under the Law Society of Kenya, LSK, are up in arms after the IEBC Disputes Tribunal gave Johnson Sakaja and Wavinya Ndeti a nod to vie as the UDA Nairobi governor candidate and the Wiper Machakos governor candidate.
Sasa nawaambia leteni ingine tumalizane na nyinyi. Na mimi siwaogopi, na tarehe 9 mwezi wa 8 nitawaangusha chini pajichore kama mtu.
Vindicated, we stand qualified. We have the requisite qualifications to run for the office of governor of Nairobi. And not just that, we're not just running for the sake of running, but we're in it to win it so that we can transform this great capital of ours, of Nairobi City County.
The tribunal sitting on Sunday in Nairobi claimed it has no mandate to verify academic credentials of political aspirants, therefore throwing out petitions questioning the academic qualification for Johnson Sakaja, Ndeti, and the Taita Taveta Governor Grandon Sambuja, who seeks to defend his seat in the August 9th elections.
The second respondent acted within the law when clearing the first respondent to stand for elections. And this is our final orders. Our final order is that this complaint be and is hereby dismissed with no other costs. The second respondent, the returning officer, and its agents are not legally empowered and thus lack requisite jurisdiction to go beyond the provisions of Regulation 47 of the Election General Regulations 2012 in authenticating a degree certificate.
The tribunal's decision has caught the attention of the LSK, which says IEBC has shied away from investigating the matter in full by working closely with the DCI and the EACC, who are continuing with the investigations against Sakaja and Wavinya.
Cases that have been filed at the tribunal have been filed at the right forum, and the commission must with finality determine the question of the qualification of those candidates whose nomination has been challenged. Whereas we appreciate that the power to investigate constitutionally is vested in other bodies, the commission also has a constitutional mandate to address the questions regarding nomination. And so therefore, the commission should collaborate with the investigative agencies to determine on merit the complaints that have been raised before it.
LSK President Eric Theuri led the council in slamming the IEBC, saying that the case on academic credentials will continue even after the August 9th elections, something that may cost the taxpayer. LSK, which condemned campaign violence witnessed at Nairobi's Jacaranda grounds on Sunday, further challenged the electoral body to work in line with the law and other relevant stakeholders to ensure a credible election.
Of violence at the Jacaranda ground, when two rival political factions claimed to have hired the grounds for their political rally. We note that there were instances of excessive use of force by the police, and so we call upon the IG to ensure that the perpetrators and the funders and the organizers of those incidences of violence are immediately brought to book.
Dickens Luvanda, Hope TV News Watch.
All right, we want to go back to our top story tonight, where IEBC has already made public the voter register after auditing by the KPMG company. And of course, IEBC also announced that 3 suspected officers are being investigated for their roles in the unusual transfer of voters from their polling stations. Our reporter Grace Ongoi brings us this report.
The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, is on the last leg of preparations with only about 50 days until the general election. While releasing the official voter register to the public at the Bomas of Kenya on Monday, the Commission announced that 3 suspected officers are being investigated for their roles in the unusual transfer of voters from their polling stations.
About 3 officers, we are actually finalizing investigations, and they'll be apprehended to face the law, especially in those areas the CEO has mentioned.
IEBC CEO Hussein Marjan said 4,000 voters may face prosecution if discovered to have dual registrations from different polling stations, adding that the Commission had been able to reverse 59% of their anomalies.
What you are saying is that after this exercise, we will hand over these records, 4,757, to the relevant agencies for further investigation to understand why people are registering more than once with the different documents, so that proper charges can be preferred against them.
At the same time, the Commission has confirmed that 22 million voters will participate in the August 9 general election. According to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, KNBS, there were 25,212,096 eligible voters in 2017 compared to 27,857,598 in 2022. Women constituted 49.12% of registrations, men 50.88%, youth between 18 to 35 years 39.84%, persons with disabilities at 18.94%, and those in the diaspora at 0.05%.
It's equally pleased to announce that the total number of registered voters is 22,120,458, and the number of polling stations stands at 46,232.
In line with its mission to ensure elections are conducted without any interference that will affect the outcome of the polls, IEBC announced that no physical registration list will be found in polling stations.
Physical register had all information regarding the voters in that particular polling station. And therefore, that practice of deleting to confirm who has actually voted, which is also being carried out by the KIMS kit, it was also being done physically by using the register of voter. So in strongholds, it is possible that the ones that are remaining, after a certain period of time, they start now entering the ID into the KIMS system, and they give this and give their would-be voters ballot papers for them to go and actually cast.
The Commission is expected to submit the report to the National Assembly and the Senate. Grace Ongoi, Hope TV News Watch.
Let's switch gears here. A section of women leaders and politicians from Uasin Gishu County have strongly condemned the violence witnessed at Jacaranda grounds in Nairobi on Sunday, urging young people not to be misused by politicians. Speaking in Eldoret during a conference aimed at strategizing campaigns for Deputy President William Ruto, the leaders called on aspiring politicians to be more proactive in spreading peace and campaigning for the DP.
Tunakashifu matukio yaliyotendeka kule Jacaranda siku hii ya leo. Kwanza tunaona hofu kwa sababu hiyo inatufanya tukue na hofu kama kina mama wa taifa letu, na hatungependa turudi penye tulitoka 2007-2008. Hasa huku sehemu za North Rift tuliona mambo mengi mabaya. Hatutamani kurudi mahali pale. Tumekubaliana kama kina mama kwamba sisi, kila mtoto ni mtoto wetu. Sisi jamii zote ni wetu. Na hatuna nia ya kupigana, hatuna nia ya kushangilia mambo yote ambayo yataenda kuharibu ama kuleta furugu kati yetu.
Kenya si mahali pa kuleta vita. Tuliona 2017 kulikuwa na vita vingi sana, na wenye waliumia walikuwa akina mama na watoto. Lakini raundi, kwa sababu our 50th president wamepatia akina mama kipaumbele kwa siasa, tumejitokeza kwa wingi na tutatoka kusunguka Kenya mzima kueneza amani, kwa sababu sisi ni watu wa amani.
Tumekuwa tukiomba tangu last elections, wakati tulikuwa na vurugu na vita, na tukasema kwamba hatutarudi huko tena. Kwa hivyo mimi nataka niseme kwa mkutano ya leo, tumekubaliana na wamama kwamba tutaenda kwa magoti, tutaenda kwa makanisa, tutaomba Mungu na tutaambia Mungu hatuhitaji wakati huu watu waende mirengo ya kupigana.
And 2 voters from Kilifi County have moved to the High Court in Mombasa to question the validity of Malindi MP Asha Juma's academic qualifications. Rajab Menza Shikara and Daniel Chengo Kahindi are pursuing a judicial review challenging the decision by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission (IEBC) to clear Juma as a gubernatorial candidate ahead of the forthcoming election, despite allegedly lacking a university degree. The 2 petitioners, who are being represented by counsel Derek Odhiambo, said they opted to go for the judicial review rather than the IEBC Election Dispute Tribunal, saying the elections body tribunal had no capacity to grant them justice. The 2 are seeking to stop the Malindi constituency MP from being gazetted to be on the ballot paper in the upcoming election.
Kusudi ya kuja kotini hapa ni kutafuta haki, ili tuambiwe ukweli, ili koti libainishe ukweli kuhusu elimu ya huyu mama Aisha Juma ambaye anawania kiti cha ugavana katika county government ya Kilifi. Na tumeona afadhali nije ni file judicial review ili tujue ukweli, kwa sababu kule tulikuwa tunajua kuwa pengine haki haitatendeka, kwa sababu wenyewe jana walitangaza kuwa wao hawana right ya kubainisha kuinvestigate makaratasi ya mtu. So tukaona afadhali tuje tufile case kotini ili tuone kama koti kweli inaweza kuinvestigate na kubainisha ukweli kuhusu kisomo cha huyo mama. Manake tunataka kuongozwa na mtu ambaye ameelimika na mtu ambaye pia yuko na maadili.
The National Assembly Public Accounts Committee Chairman Opiyo Wandayi wants the next parliament to come up with a legislation seeking to make forgery of academic certificates a capital offence. Wandayi said that the proposed laws must provide for a life sentence to anybody who will be convicted over the offence of faking or buying or fraudulently acquiring a degree certificate. Addressing the media in Siaya Town, the PAC chairman, who is also the Ugunja legislator, applauded the government agencies that have taken over investigations into alleged forgery of certificates by those vying for various political seats.
We applaud the measures that have been taken by the DPP, the DCI, and all relevant agencies in terms of expediting investigations into these very unfortunate incidents. But I want to say this: in order to act as a deterrence, we shall be proposing the necessary amendments to the penal code when Parliament resumes next, at this earliest opportunity, when Parliament resumes its sittings, to amend the penal code to provide for life sentence in cases where one is convicted over the offense of faking or buying or in any way fraudulently acquiring degree certificates. We want to elevate that offense to the level of murder or robbery with violence. It's the only way to deal with this menace, because it's a menace that, if left unchecked, can ruin the future of a whole generation of Kenyans.
All right, with that, let's take our first commercial break on News Watch. When we come back, of course, we'll be looking at other stories making headlines in the country. Do stay with Hope TV News Watch.
Every day, over 15 million members are transforming Africa. Million members empowered to learn, to create, to grow, to harvest, to lead, to dream. Equity. Karibu member.
Expect the unexpected on the Stars Show.
It's forever enough, always enough.
Anything goes from singing, dance to gymnastics to mind-blowing art. All you need is a skill and a star quality.
I'm 5 levels and I'm a skater.
Make sure it is very straight and clean.
Just remember to join us every Saturday from 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. with me, your host, Tamika Arnett.
Welcome back to News Watch. The Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance Coalition has told Kajiado County, led by its principals Raila Odinga, Martha Karua and Kalonzo Musyoka, to sell its agenda to the people of Kajiado as the election fast approaches. Speaking to the residents, Odinga, who also made a stopover in Rongai, said he will improve infrastructure, initiate drought mitigation measures to protect the vulnerable in assault counties, and lower the cost of living if elected president. On her part, Odinga's running mate Martha Karua castigated the Kenya Kwanza side, saying they have failed to outline to Kenyans how they intend to fight corruption.
Mumesikia ahadi za ndugu yetu Raila Odinga. Kwa niaba yetu wanaazimio la Umoja One Kenya, zote tunakubaliana na yeye kwa matamshi ambayo amewaahidi hapa watu wa Ongata Rongai. Kwanza shida hapa, anajua governors have been trying, lakini maji ya toilets na mambo hayo tunajua ni mbaya, si ni kweli? Alafu kwa siku za kwanza mwanzoni, baba atahakikisha bei ya unga inarudi wapi?
Ikiwa wapinzani wetu
wamekuja kuahidi mabilioni hapa na pale bila kusimama na kuapa kupambana na ufisadi. Ujue hiyo ni ahadi ya mdomo peke yake. Mimi nimesimama nyuma ya baba sababu na muamini anataka kuinua hali ya maisha ya kila Mkenya, na kwa serikali yake amenipatia kazi ya kupambana na wafisadi wote. Na wewe unajua masaa ya kazi huyu mama hacheki na hachezi. Kwa hivyo mtupatie kazi, tuwe watchman wa pesa zenu na mipango yote, na baba amekomaa kwa mipango ya kiserikali.
Tutajenga viwanda kila county, one county, one product. One county, one county, one county. Tutazidisha pesa ambayo inatoka Nairobi kuja mashinani. Itapanda kutoka 15 kwa 100 hadi 35 kwa 100 pesa inakuja mashinani. Hiyo itasaidia serikali ya county kwa upande wa ujenzi ya vituo vya matibabu, kwa upande wa ujenzi ya barabara, kwa upande wa ujenzi wa mashule, kwa upande ya maji na kadhalika. Tumeelewana vizuri? Tumeelewana vizuri? Bei ya sukari itarudi chini, hata kodi ya nyumba itarudi chini. Sawa? Tumesema kwa upande ya ujinga, kuanzia Januari, kila mtoto ambaye anazaliwa katika taifa letu, hata kama wazazi hawana pesa, kuanzia nursery, primary, secondary, tertiary, university, hakuna karo tena.
At the same time, Deputy President William Ruto has asked leaders to desist from engaging in violence, condemning Sunday's events at the Jacaranda grounds. Dr. Ruto said it's possible for Kenya to have peaceful election in August if politicians compete on issues and ideas. He was speaking in Njoro, where he engaged grassroots leaders, professionals and politicians from Njoro and Molo. The Deputy President said Kenya Kwanza was committed to ensuring that Kenya remains stable and that communities coexist peacefully and embrace diversity.
Hapa ndipo tulianzisha ile safari ya kuunganisha Kenya na kuondoa siasa ya chuki na ukabila na mambo ya kugawanya watu. Mimi nataka niwaambie juu ya hiyo msingi tutajenga mambo ya maendeleo ya taifa letu la Kenya. Wale wanawauzia uoga hapa Nakuru ni kwa sababu hawana sera, hawana mpango, hawana maono. Ndio unaona wanakuja hapa wanauzia sisi kama watu wa Rift Valley ati kutatokea hii, kutatokea hii, kutatokea hili. Sisi tunataka tuwaambie shetani alishindwa zamani. Hii Rift Valley sasa ni bonde la amani. Watu wote wanaoishi katika hii Rift Valley, sisi tumesoma vizuri matatizo ya siasa ya ukabila na chuki, na hatuwezi kurudi mahali pale tena. Tunapiga hatua kwenda mbele kujenga Rift Valley ambayo ni ya Wakenya wote kujivunia kuwa wakazi wa bonde hili la amani. So watu wa Nakuru, watu wa Rift Valley, nataka mjue ya kwamba ile serikali tunajenga ni serikali tuko na mpango. Tunataka kukamilisha ile azma yetu ya kuhakikisha kwamba vijana wetu kama Jimmy na vijana wa Rift Valley na vijana wa Kenya wanapata ajira. Tunataka kushughulika na mambo ya kilimo, tuhakikisha kwamba tunapunguza gharama ya maisha, tuhakikisha kwamba kuna chakula ya kutosha kwa bei nafuu, tuweze kuondoa shida ya njaa na watu ambao hawana chakula katika taifa letu la Kenya. Mimi nataka niwahakikishie, we are going to have a peaceful election in Kenya, and Kenya will march forward united and prosperous. Tunaelewana jameni?
Away from politics, police in Kamukunji in Nairobi County are investigating the mysterious death of an 18-year-old boy, Samson Mukaya, a Form 4 student at Uhuru Secondary Boarding School. The death of the Form 4 boy caused fracas at the school, leading to the burning of 2 dormitories at night. Students and parents blamed the school teachers who allegedly failed to take prompt action to save the life of the boy. The father, Daniel Nyanchonga Mukaya, narrated how he received the shocking call informing him of his son's death. According to parents who were told the story by other students, Mukaya was playing basketball at the hall when he collapsed before dying 3 hours later.
Hiyo imeuma sana. Tumeburifiwa kwa ofisi pale ati John ambulance inaitwa nini? St. John ambulance iliitwa. Yaani waliita wanafunzi wale wanafunzi wakafanya first aid. Wakaona hapana, hiyo imezidi, kuambia walimu, wakaambia wako on duty, ndio waliamua kuchukua mattress wakambeba. Kufika hapa wakapata si msamaria mwema akawasaidia. Na unajua the way kuenda mpaka pale hakuwa na mwalimu. Kufika pale hata tumetoka hospitali wakatuambia wale walipokea mtoto mgonjwa walipokea maiti, hawakupokea mtu ako hai. Na hapa wanatuambia walipokea, walipeleka akiwa hai na wale wamekataa. So kuna game hapa inachezwa. Hakuna mwalimu alikuwa anatuambia usiku tumetoka hapa saa 10 usiku asubuhi ya leo. So alikuwa amepelekwa hospitali ya Metropolitan. Na daktari tumekuwa na yeye amekataa. Amesema alitoka kama amekufa na ni wanafunzi walikuwa karibu 10 na huyo msamaria mwema naye aliwaacha karudi. Fikiri ile kitu ili cause hii maneno yote angesaidika, lakini kitu ili cause ni action delay ya wakufanya vile inatakikana. So kama wangefanya haraka tungesaidia yeye.
As the world marks the World Refugee Day, the Kituo cha Sheria, together with UNHCR partners, refugee-led organizations, development partners, the civil society, and major university institutions in Kenya have led the country in commemorating this year's World Refugee Day at the Kenyatta University School of Law, Parklands campus in Nairobi County. The event, in line with the 2022 World Refugee Day's theme dubbed Together We Heal, Learn and Shine, created an opportunity for continued dialogue on issues affecting refugees.
These documents that are given to refugees, sometimes they cannot allow us to prosper or to do other many activities that we are supposed to do. So basically, as the refugee-led organizations of Network of Kenya, not only in Kenya, but also at the African level and at the global, what we are trying to do is just to champion for the refugee meaningful participation.
This is a collective work. The host people, the refugees, the government, and the organizations. Now, we have to remind ourselves, we got the ID which has made us buy properties, access some services after 2006, after DRA. It means the government came in to solve our issues. They have understood, they started solving. We need to understand that and keep in mind that as we ask more.
When you talk about integration, we are simply talking about inclusion and participation. So refugees being able to be included and also participate in economic and social development.
Let's move to the counties now. Residents of Kiria location in Mbeere North Sub-County in Embu have benefited from a free medical camp organized by the area MP Muriuki in Jagagwa. The one-day camp came as a reprieve to patients at a time when health services were grounded in all public health facilities following the strike by health workers in the county over poor working conditions. Health workers downed their tools a week ago over a protracted labor dispute with the devolved unit. Hundreds of patients who turned up for the one-day camp were examined and treated for various diseases such as cervical, breast and prostate cancer, arthritis, among others. Speaking during the event, Jagagwa called on Governor Martin Wambora to move with speed and address the impasse in the health sector and end the suffering of residents.
Nisikia kilio cha watu wa Kerie, wanasema madaktari wamegoma, hawajaona madaktari hapa wa kaunti kwa siku mingi. Na pia nikanongonoza na watu wa Kerie, wakaniambia kuna magonjwa mbalimbali ama kadha wa kadha, ya kwanza ikiwa ni maneno ya macho na zinginezo mingi. So I organized with my good friends who are medics, and we agreed that they're going to frontier the services to come and give free medical care or attention to the people of Kerie. Ile ya muhimu ni kwamba pia hata kuna watoto wamezaliwa juzi hawajapata chanjo, na leo hao madaktari wameweza kufika hapa na kuwafanyia chanjo.
Nilikuwa nimekuja nikiwa na shinda ya kifua, kuumwa na joint, na hata kuwa nikikula chakula fulani ninashikwa na kiungulia. Sasa nimekuja mimi, nimetibiwa, nimepata daktari ambao wanaongea vizuri, tumetibiwa vizuri, tumepewa mandawa.
Tumeshukuru sana kwa sababu hii huduma ya leo tumepata huduma nzuri sana sana kwa wazee wetu, mama wazee na baba hao wetu wazee kabisa.
We have issues with malnutrition in under 5s, which has been witnessed. We can see this is a drought area which requires a lot of support, especially in under 5s who are coming to the hospital because of diarrhea.
Mimi nimeshukuru kwa kuona mheshimiwa ametuletea hii huduma leo hapa. Sasa ningesema mheshimiwa atuletee madaktari hata wa kung'oa meno.
Coast Regional Commissioner John Elungata has called on politicians to conduct peaceful campaigns in the run-up to the general election in order to safeguard the peace of the country. Elungata asked politicians running for various elective seats to avoid politics of insults and attacks on personalities and conduct campaigns that address issues that will bring progress to the people. The RC, who is also the chairman of the Regional Security and Intelligence Committee, spoke at a forum on election preparedness held at the Coast Regional Headquarters in Mombasa over the weekend.
Vijana usikubali kuingia kwa mihadarati ama kupewa pombe ama kunyweshwa vileo ndio waweze kufanya mambo ambayo yanaibisha na yanatishia watu wengine. Tungeomba wanyenyekee na wawe wazuri tu kama vile walivyokuwa kabla ya campaign kwanza, na tutawasaidia sisi. Lakini wakiendelea kufanya mambo ambayo hayafai watakamatwa kama wale 70 wengine walivyokamatwa huko Kisauni, na watashtakiwa kwa makosa yao. Kwa hivyo wasiseme hawakuambiwa. Kuwe na ile inaitwa responsibility, kuwe na ile kiasi katika kutumia social media, kusiwe na kueneza habari za uongo, kusiwe kueneza chuki, kusiwe na mambo kama hayo. Na tungeomba tu kwamba tuwe wa staarabu, tuwe watu wenye utu tunapofanya hii campaign. Kusiwe na matusi, kusiwe na chuki, kusiwe na uchochezi. Kuna haja gani? Kwa sababu mwisho yule unayechochea labda anaweza kuwa mfuasi wako, labda hata atakupigia kura. Kwa sababu kura haiendi na kabila wala sura wala rangi, ni ballot, ni kura. Kwa hivyo tungefikiria kwamba ingewafaa kama kila mmoja angezingatia sheria za uchaguzi na sheria za nchi.
We know you have great taste for music. And we do too.
I know who God says I am, what He says I am, where He says I'm at.
Enjoy all-time Christian hits every Tuesday from 12 p.m.
This is amazing grace. This is unfailing love.
On Hope Junction.
Let's continue with business news now. 156 students graduating from M-Pesa Foundation Academy will join global and local institutions of higher learning that include TVETs. Ahead of their admission, the students will proceed on a 3-month life skills training program at Uongozi Center. Out of the 156 students, 22 have been admitted to universities in the United Kingdom and Switzerland after attaining the required scores, while 114 will study in local universities and 20 enroll in TVET institutions across the country. According to Safaricom, since 2019, the academy has sponsored 133 students to study in universities in the United States, United Kingdom and Switzerland, while over 116 students have found placement in local universities and TVETs. Now, in a bid to boost tourism in the country, global technology company MasterCard has announced the signing of an MOU with the Kenya Tourism Board, KTB, to help Kenya's tourism sector rebound to its pre-pandemic level. The 3-year partnership is the first of its kind in Africa. The partnership will drive growth of tourism numbers into Kenya by leveraging various MasterCard channels. The MOU also includes increasing transparency on tourism trends, anonymized traveler profiles and economic impact through MasterCard's data insights capabilities, which will enable KTB to plan, execute and improve its campaign reports. Kenya Tourism Board CEO Dr. Betty Radier said the MOU with MasterCard aligns with KTB's strategy of expanding board's partner ecosystem to strengthen the sector and deliver on the goal of bouncing back fully to pre-2019 levels within the next 2 years. Let's look at some sports news now. Rally driver Evans Kavisi says he is finalizing preparations ahead of the 2022 World Rally Championship Safari Rally that kicks off this week on Thursday in Naivasha, Nakuru County. Kavisi, who recently received a 9 million shilling sponsorship alongside Nikhil Sachania from KCB Bank, eyes a top 20 finish in the showpiece event. KCB Group Director Customer Excellence Job Njiru has challenged motorsport stakeholders to integrate sustainable operations in an effort to drive down the environmental impact of this sport. At the same time, 9-time world champion Sebastian Loeb will be making a return to the rally after missing out on the 2 decades and is expected to join other international drivers ahead of the event.
We've had enough time to prepare. We took off some events earlier in the year from our calendar. That way we were able to focus more on rebuilding the car meticulously. Right now we're just doing the small cosmetic things, to get the car ready. We brand it and we are off to the races. So we are okay on that front. Last year we had Onkarai, Karl Tundo, Karan Patel. Those 3 guys were actually in the top 10 of the overall rankings of WRC Safari last year. And that again comes from a lot of preparation and getting a lot of conditions right to perform that well. This year we are hoping that we'll have a lot more than that, and hopefully someone sneaks into the top 5 position, because these 3 were actually in between number 5 and number 10.
Last year was almost a preparation phase. It's almost like a recce of the WRC, because for most of those drivers it was the first time for them to first be in the country or rally on Kenyan roads. So they've been doing something. They've been practicing. Their minds, they think they're getting onto the frame of mind that this is not just any one of those rallies that is a pushover. So I know they'll be coming in to put in their A game. And for us also locally, we have local drivers who are participating. And for the first time, you've seen KCB has injected, some sponsorship to 2 very talented drivers in the name of Evans Kavisi and Nikhil Sachania. These are local guys who we know will do the country proud. So again, these are people to look out for, to look out to, and this time it will be bigger and better.
And KCB women volleyballer Sharon Chepchumba has been feted as the LG and Sports Journalists Association of Kenya SJAC Sports Personality for the month of May. The KCB right attacker achieved the feat after she was voted the most valuable player at last month's CAVB African Women Club Championships in Kelebia, Tunisia. Speaking at the Nyayo National Stadium volleyball court on Monday morning, Chipchumba said the award will motivate her to winning more titles, starting with the World Championships in September.
I'm so happy, and I really thank God for this, because ingekuwa Mungu hizi vitu zote zingekuwa zina happen. And also I would like to appreciate my teammates for the effort that they have been doing. Wamenisaidia sana, they have really pushed me, and nimeona matokeo. I would like to appreciate them a lot. And another thing is ningependa ku thank LG. Hii ni big encouragement kwangu. Itanifanya ni keep on working hard and hard so that nipate more.
I'm very happy as a coach. As I told you before, I was only watching you guys giving to football, the other sport, but not volleyball. So I'm proud of my players to be among the first to get this award in volleyball. Yeah, and I'm proud of Chumba because of our performance in Tunisia. And not only in Tunisia, but for the last few years, she has really performed well, and she has been best player, best attacker, and this time she became the most valuable player.
And Max Verstappen continued his streak of wins, extending the World Championship lead to 46 points after winning the Canadian Grand Prix, his 6th win of the 2022 Formula One season. The Dutchman managed to hold Carlos Sainz as he tried to push for his first ever Formula One victory. Lewis Hamilton finished 3rd to claim his first podium finish since the opening race of the 2022 season.
Can just start to relax and to rest a little bit, as for the first time he starts a race in Montreal on pole, and for the first time he sees the checkered flag and will know what it's like to win the Canadian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen comes home in first place. Carlos Sainz pushed him all the way and takes a 5th second place in his career, and it's Lewis Hamilton back on the podium once more for Mercedes in 3rd.
All right, with that, we've come to the end of this live broadcast of News Watch tonight. Many thanks for staying with us. I'll see you again tomorrow, same time. My name is Tony Omondi, and our sign language interpreter has been Boniface Murithi. Have a good night, and God bless.
Only God can turn a mess into a message.
I have a boy on a wheelchair.
Yeah.
I'm still preaching on the pulpit.
Amen.
Niliona mguu ya nyuma inakuja tu kunikanyaga, imenilenga tu kwa tumbo. Nikaitana tu Jesus.
I got tired of working with the x-ray papers, and one day I just woke up and decided to burn them.
A test into a testimony.
The whole community didn't want to hear that anybody is born again. Excommunicated straight.
Bila Yesu hakuna njia.
Join Sharon Naitore Wangenye on Testify.
Katika hiyo harakati hiyo spirit ikakemewa, mimi nimeona Yesu Kristo namna hii. Kwa msalaba. Opa. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Every Thursday at 8 p.m. for a moment to grow your faith some more. Join us every Sunday for unlimited, uplifting, powerful worship, only on Extended Worship.
Join John Carson every weekday as he takes us on a journey through the Bible.
Whoever shall seek to save his life, if you go back to living for yourself, you're going to lose it. But whoever shall lose his life, give up his life for my sake, he shall preserve it.
Enjoy interesting, knowledge-packed, yet simple teachings through his humor and in-depth understanding of God's Word.
The last people that tried to put God in a box, literally, he rose again. He wouldn't stay in their compartment. If God was small enough for me to figure out, he wouldn't be big enough for me to worship.
Tune in to Hope TV for John Cousin every 10 p.m., 4 a.m., and 10 a.m. weekdays on Hope TV, where you look and live.